Superbooth 19, I'm here on the booth of Soma Labs with Vlad Kreimer. Are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just a little bit tired. 3 days of constant conversation, explanation, but everything is very fine.
I see your booth is all days overcrowded with people. I think the feedback is great this year.
Yeah, a lot of people was in my presentation in Cinema venue, and constantly someone asked me to show Pulsar here. So people really excited with this product.
You as designer, I think all your products so far, you have not so much products. You have the Lyra, you have this very unique flute, you have now this drum machine, all have a very specific design. For me it's interesting to hear where comes your background, because I think your background is not that very typical synthesis people or synth people man.
Yeah, I'm in between of, let's say, cross-disciplinary grows up, like a musician, an engineer, and a kind of maybe a shaman or spiritual practicer. So that is why I can create such kind of machines. So for me, it's not so interesting trying to create pure engineering, because especially in musical domain, I think that's the most important thing is transmission of inner state of a musician's, transmission of energy. And that is why I try to create machines which can be transparent for your soul, for soul of a musician. That is why unusual design, unusual engineering. So I think in 21st century we have a lot of possibilities to create something very complex. So any kind, even in smartphone you can create the whole super complex album of, but the question is human behind, and if I can manage all these possibilities of contemporary world. So I would like to give to contemporary musicians more possibilities to be concentrate on their own inner state than to be messed with a lot of patching knobs, screens, and endless amount of functions. That's my idea.
Because I see on your interfaces they are very hands-on. You grab a knob and it happens something. You don't need to use a menu, or it's not overcrowded with knobs. So every knob has its function and it's very logical. If you're creating an instrument in your lab, because it's a very laboratory with how you start? Do you have a specific idea, or are you experimenting around? How we can imagine this Vlad Kreimer in the laboratory? Or do you have many friends with you? Or
So I've started with a very strange situation. It was Soviet Union. I'm from Soviet Union past, and we have no parts. I have no parts in my childhood, so I have to go to rubbish bin and try to find some old equipment with throw away, like old tape recorder, unsolder parts, and assemble something. So a lot of experimentations, a lot of patience, and a very small amount of possibilities. And that is why I grows up in this way, so I can create sound from anything. And very deep understanding of single part, it's very important, because I have a lot of time for experimentation. I'm not just like contemporary people which immediately from 4 years old have smartphone in their arms. So I have time to learn step by step all engineering. I am first of all was a musician, and I started to create these machines for myself. And when I put just several very raw demo videos to the internet, the words went mad and start asking me, "Oh, guy, it's a very important instrument. Please build it as well for us. We need this instrument." And then I decided it's very unique and interesting way of self-expression. So I I am just like a landscape, like a quest for musicians, and they try to find their own way. So maybe I'm first generation of artist and engineer at the same time. That is why romantic engineering. So I'm not so engineer. I'm also a soul behind.
But you are less influenced by the past, by the synthesizers from the past, from Roland or for Korg. So you have a different concept how you perceive sound when I hear it correctly. So you are more that what is not yet possible with the instruments, right? Is it more so? There's a lot of companies here. I think they are influenced by Roland, by Korg, or by some specific brand from the past. So do you have maybe one or two instruments which you said that's, let's say, from the past, very for me very iconic and very important for my life?
I am a kind of strange person. I very trust to my energy. So if my energy say yes, I can spend years for very simple instrument. If my energy say no, I can pass through the huge complex machines very easy. So for me, one of the most important things like theremin, the very first synthesizer. So I refer to theremin very often because it's so genius. Just if you try to put it in a contemporary way of synthesis, it's synthesizer just with two knobs, volume and frequency, nothing else. But the magic is how it connected with the artist, and for me it's the most important message from theremin, and that is why it's the only one synthesizer constantly recognized in academical music. Also for me, like SYNTH, very important synthesizer. So I prefer synthesizers with living soul. So I feel them like a beast, like a creature, not like just function. So that is why I fascinated with such machines. So with normal engineering, I'm most interested in how does it build, how they construct PCB, what pods they use, how they program interface with MIDI. But sound I mostly take from ancient time maybe. So I'm very addictive to ancient Indian culture, like northern musical tradition, Hindustani. So I think it's very important for contemporary time. So we need new vibes not only like machinery, like globalization stuff and self-constructed machines, but how we can express ourselves these days. That is why I so often refer to strange old machines, and that is why I try to reflect it in my own developments.
So I have always the impression when I see your instrument, they are not like the other instruments where you can press on it and you can make directly music because you learned how to play the notes C3, C2 or D2. For you, I think it's you need a specific time to learn or to interact with the instrument. Is that your aim for it?
If you like to create music, you have to spend your time and efforts. And in China, it's called kung fu, something which take your time and force and energy. So if you just press a button, it's not a performance. Try a little bit, suggest to contemporary musicians, spend more time mastering yourself than buy new equipment. That is why, for example, I try to build machines for long lifetime. So it would be also have some meanings, I hope, decades forwards. For people have time, enough time to learn it, to understand it, to master themselves how to manage it. Like violin, like drum set, like drum set. So the secret is not in violin itself, it's just stupid four strings and stupid piece of horse tail, nothing else. The secret is in the arms of this one who play. That is.
And your company where you are, where you work with you, Soma Labs, Is it a bigger company or is it yours only, or how many are working there? So do you have a team? Or are you developing, or are you doing all the developments yourself?
So we are a small company based in Russia and Europe, Poland. So top engineering and top management is mostly friends and companions. It's not I'm a super boss, so I try to build everything like a flat structure. So everyone has each own place of responsibility and freedom. And now I also have a team of engineers which help me to make new developments, for I can spend more time with sound design and less with, for example, construction of metal box. So now we're still a small underground company, boutique company, but we grows up these years because it have sense. People really love our instruments and really need it. So we have possibility to grow up, and now it's around 30 people in Soma with all workers and management together.
And all instruments are hand built, I suspect, yeah.
Yeah, it's very important. So I think it's very important part of good sounding machine. So no robots, no just hand soldering, hand tuning, and everything is done in Europe or Russia. So it's not like cheap assembling. So
And when I see your interfaces, there are no keyboards on it. It's a different way to touch the instrument. Is that idea coming also from your idea for creating instruments with your very interactive thing and very to play around?
So, for example, Pulsar can recognize standard MIDI signal, so you can be assigned with a standard MIDI keyboard. But for example, with Lyra, my idea was I observed many performances of contemporary experimental musicians, how they use, for example, mini Moog. They don't need whole keyboards, 61 keyboard full of different notes. They need just like several notes, but very smart, let's say very smart notes. That is why I decided to build put limitation of polyphony, but make it very flexible. So each note in Lyra has its own character, its own soul.
Yeah, it has a lot of character. I never heard an instrument like this. It's full of character and it's impressive. And I see for Superbooth 2019, you have the Lyra on stage in black and white, but also you have a drum machine. I think that makes a lot of buzz here on the Superbooth. Everybody is coming for videos and everybody wants to see it. Tell us a bit about the concept of it, because it's not a traditional drum machine.
Yeah, so this is a mixture of very different kind of possibilities. Like it can make a very nice standalone operation, and it has built-in sources of complex behavior as well as loopers. I say no sequencer, because for me I a little bit tired with 16 steps, so I would like to be more live touch and feeling. So this is a loopers with possibility to record, delete, signal modify, so jump between loops, jump between different parts of loops. And also it have possibility to be integrated to DAW or any kind of MIDI source. It have powerful MIDI control over, as well as to be integrated to Eurorec world, using more than 100 nodes for patching, CV control, ins, outs, processing, and so on. And also it's a kind of circuit bending machine, so I see a lot of people like to modify something inside. So I put some sensitive nodes out of the box, so you can make socket bending without opening the enclosure. And it's very sensitive. You can even bend it, use sensitivity, conductivity of your body. So
internally, it's everything analog, or how it's built up?
Almost totally analog, exception of loopers. Loopers, of course, digital. Has digital memory, FX unit, delay, pitch shifter, and reverb. is digital, and I have digital MIDI parts which recognize MIDI signal and create DCO. So we have on bass channel DCO, but this DCO not just something based on wavetable or samplers. It uses pure mass synthesis. It's my let's say unique approach, really rare on contemporary market. So it's a real synthesis, despite of it's digital and much more sensitive to modulation, to CV control. So if I don't say you this is digital, you never recognize it. But after that, you have fat low pass filter with built-in distortion and analog filter, analog envelope generator, analog VCA, and all this stuff from an analog world.
The feeling of this new drum synthesizer, because then it's not really a drum machine. Then if users are using a lot of drum machines, I know there are people, they have 707, 808, 909s, all kinds of. Do you think the feeling and the playability or how to interact is completely different to a normal drum machine?
Completely, maybe it's too much, but significantly different. So it's more devoted, built it in this loopers, more devoted for live improvisation. So I can show you how I can play it. So it's like more spontaneous. So my idea was if you need precise control over the beat, better use DAW. So it has MIDI input. You can draw everything very precise if you're a pop producer, let's say.
And I see normally today everybody is using CVs, gate, and all with patch cables, Eurorack patch cables, but you're using this conductive or this patch cable. How comes this idea? Is this for you more an even more experimental way, or?
There's a lot of different ideas why I used this way of patching. So when I started this development, I have intention to have so much points of connection as I wish. So any significant points have to be outside. But if I use any kind of existing connectors, it take a lot of space, quite a lot of space, even mini jack, and it costs money. Either it will have bad reliability, either it costs money. So I have 125 points. Just imagine this array of of sockets. So it's a lot of space and good sockets cost a lot of money. But if you we use hand-built pins, it costs almost nothing. It's take like several square millimeters. It means that I can place it everywhere where I need. So I don't used to put everything on matrix aside of main controls, and you need to remember what hole devoted to what knob. The knob, the pin, the knob, the pin. Very easy. Also, you can connect so much, as much clips as you need to any nodes, because you can connect with each other. Also, you can use your body for patching, so you can touch it by your fingers and very live feelings with it. Also, you can, for example, take old radio and make it a part of circuitry, because it's circuit bending machine. Also, you can use a single parts, like you have capacitor, you would like to hear how it sounds. Oh. And you put it directly to the circuitry. It's very easy with these alligator clips. Also, you can use unusual way of patching, for example, forks and foot, piece of cheese and several forks to make patching through cheese. All this way will works, and this is the only way to make all these games possible. Use something which could be fit to anything. This is exactly alligator clips, that is why.
That sounds everything very crazy, and what I never see on Superbooth. It's something, a new take on being a drum synthesizer or drum machine, or when we can expect it on the market, or is it already?
So we need several months to finish mass production version.
And it will be in this very colorful orange, or do you offer also another color?
3 ones, black, orange, white.
Nice. And what price can we expect?
We expect around 1,500 net price.
And so we expect it around, you think, summer, or?
We hope end of summer, but no promises, because every time we can't be precise with exact time of launching to the sales.
Pre-orders are already open, or?
Yeah, we have a lot of pre-orders now.
Okay. Big thanks, Vlad. I wish you good luck with this new drum machine. I'm pretty sure the people will buy it. And also good luck the last hours here on Superbooth. Big thanks for this interview. And hope you enjoyed this video. And as usual, if you enjoyed this video, leave a positive thumb, and see you soon in one of the next Superbooth videos. Thanks.
Thank you very much.